Cole MacGrath versus Spider-Man. Two superheroes both based in New York City or Empire City for Cole. Both have great power and both have great responsibility. I recently played through Spider-Man again, and this matchup popped in my head after seeing the pretty amazing and spectacular things Spider-Man was doing and was capable of, with the icing on the cake being that he fought Electro. My wheels started turning and I thought, how would he fare against Cole? Would he be able to withstand the barrage of lightning? Would the web crawler be able to stand against the Electric Man? The answer is really complicated. I'm going to be going over the different tactics and strategies and strengths of each version of Cole, from Good Cole in Infamous 1 to Beast Cole in Infamous 2. So, let's start with Cole, or at least the good version of Cole. It was Cole MacGrath who began the epic journey of the Infamous series. He was a simple bike messenger before delivering a mysterious package called the Ray Sphere. The Ray Sphere exploded in his hands and destroyed a good portion of the city. In the aftermath, the city believed Cole was to blame and branded him a terrorist. The humble bike messenger turned into the savior of Empire City. As a result of the exploding Ray Sphere, Cole can store, control, and unleash electricity in a number of ways. Cole's body is electrically charged, giving him enhanced strength, agility, durability, and reflexes, as well as a fast healing factor. Cole is a selfless hero who uses his powers to fight evil and injustice throughout the city. Now, Cole is no slouch, being able to take down powerful conduits, which are basically superhuman people in the Infamous universe. Conduits are basically mutants, but he's able to take down very powerful conduits such as Alden, who is this insanely powerful force in his own right. If you don't believe me, look at what he's doing now.
I was transfixed. Moya kept talking while I watched this man, this old, grizzled man, lift a bus with his mind. I'm strong, but nowhere near that powerful.
Before finally defeating Kessler, the future version of himself that, while I will admit Kessler would probably let Cole beat him in order to prepare him for the beast, but I would still count it in his favor as Kessler is stupidly powerful. Now, fast forward to Infamous 2, where Cole is eventually able to fight Bertrand and just look at him. And then finally, the Beast, the same monster capable of tanking this.
Missiles up!
No way.
Jesus. They had a nuke. Now it's back to war?
Cole's biggest strength lies in his vast range and destructive capability. He's able to accurately target and hit precise areas from kilometers away. He can manipulate lightning in a variety of ways, such as simply lightning bolts to emulating rockets and grenades to creating shields. The list goes on, and I'll be going into detail the different powers as they become relevant in different strategies. Now, each version of Cole has a different power sets of abilities and tactics that they would be using in this fight. But by default, Cole is able to generally use standard lightning, grenades, a stronger rocket-type blast, and various other climbing abilities. Cole is generally a straightforward combatant, preferring ranged attacks over up-close fights, until Infamous 2, where he gets the amp and actually fights close range. While he does use electric blades on his hands, they're not as effective as the rest of his power set, and depending on what form he's in determines his durability, with the biggest feat from Infamous 1 being able to tank a blast from the Ray Sphere, and Infamous 2 Cole is able to fully fight the beast. So the range of their durability feats kind of vary depending on who's which version. But now onto the web crawler himself.
All units, level 4 mobilization. Location, Fisk Tower.
Fisk.
SWAT is 1084 at Fisk Tower. All units stand by. Warrant is en route.
Now this is a bit of a stretch, I know, but I'm going to assume that most people, if not everyone, knows who Spider-Man is. But just to clarify, this is the version of Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2018. So I'm just going to be using feats from that specific game. Even though this version of Spider-Man is supposed to be an amalgamation of all of the other Spider-Men we've seen in different years, I'm only going to be using feats either shown or mentioned, such as the trained feat that was a reference to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. But for those of you who don't know, Peter Parker used to be a normal teenage boy until one day he was bitten by a genetically modified spider, which gave him superhuman abilities. His Uncle Ben's death led him to become a superhero charged with protecting the city of New York, and he chose the name Spider-Man. Fast forward, Peter is now 23 years old and working in a laboratory as an intern. He has been Spider-Man for 8 years and has settled into his role as a protector of New York City. Spider-Man is one of the most versatile and deceptively strategic characters in fiction. I said that. Being able to take a situation and use his unique sets of tools and abilities to solve and overcome any situation. And if he doesn't, he can usually make a clean getaway and use his dumb high 189 IQ strategies to think of a solution to clear any obstacle that way. From fighting the Sinister Six with no prep to finding solutions on how to creatively beat them all within hours of fighting them. Spider-Man consistently delivers, and when he doesn't, he always bounces back. Spider-Man has a variety of different abilities at his disposal, such as the ability to stick to surfaces which he constantly climbs and runs on. He has enhanced strength and has been shown to be able to stop a train with just pure muscle, which is at least 25 metric tons of force with just pure strength. He has insanely fast reflexes and reaction speeds, possibly due to his most overpowered ability, the Spider Sense. With this, he's able to react to attacks in the massively hypersonic plus range, which equates to about these numbers on screen. I'm not saying this. But not only is he physically a beast, but he is also one mentally, as he's creating the majority of all the various gadgets and tools he makes use of, from normal webs capable of swinging to anti-gravity suspension. He really has a web tool for every situation. Let's get started with Good Cole versus Spider-Man. And I want to clarify that I haven't played Miles Morales, and if you're watching this from the future, I want to say that this is before Spider-Man 2 came out. So the stage is set. Rumors of the Electric Man have spread through New York City like wildfire, and Spider-Man has finally tracked him down. This man has to be stopped before he can hurt anyone else, and the only one who can stop him is Spider-Man. So for these particular battles, I'm going to say this takes place in the middle of the city where Spider-Man normally fights and where Cole has access to a good amount of power. So if I were to have good guy Cole MacGrath fight Spider-Man, it would have to be an out-of-character fight, because honestly, Cole would honestly have no reason to fight Spider-Man. So for this fight, it would be what would happen if I was controlling them like a video game. Just plug the controller in the back of their heads and I was like, oh, okay, if I was playing them, how would it go? Well, the thing with this fight is that Cole is always going to be able to tell where Spider-Man is because of his ability to read electromagnetic signatures. He can send out a pulse and he knows where everyone is immediately. He also knows what their intentions are with them, and he can also track them if they run away. So Spider-Man won't really be able to run away or get away because Cole is able to track him, as shown through the numerous tracking missions in Infamous 1, but I'm not saying Spider-Man would need to, because Spider-Man has shown time and time again that he's a crafty bastard, often being able to fight way above his pay grade out of pure wits and force of will. Now let's get down to it. The biggest factor is going to be if Spider-Man can dodge Cole's constant barrage of lightning, because if Spider-Man does get hit by it, he's going to have a brief paralysis while Cole can just completely barrage him with lightning. And the question after that is Cole's lightning stronger than Electro's? To answer the first question, Cole's lightning is coming in at about 270,000 miles an hour, which is about the actual speed of lightning, which means, since this number is smaller than this number, that it's well within Spider-Man's abilities to be able to dodge his spider sense. So yeah. Now, keeping up with my earlier statement, I want to bring up Spider-Man's fight with Electro. Now, during Spider-Man's fight with Electro, Spider-Man showed a weakness to his lightning, but was still able to overwhelm him with his wits. During this fight, Electro showed a lot of versatility with his lightning, being able to float and lift objects with his lightning, as well as standard bolts. But while it looked impressive, it's important to remember that Cole has stronger lightning than Electro does. Now, that being said, between Spider-Man and Cole, it all comes down to how they would attack each other. Cole has a lot more of a ranged moveset, meaning that anything Cole hits Spider-Man with is going to do serious damage. Specifically, the precision bolt, with Cole being able to slow down his perception of time down to a halt and fire an extremely condensed bolt of lightning, being able to destroy UAVs from great distances away. To put it simply, Spider-Man can't get hit with many of those, and any hits to his head with a bolt that strong honestly would probably be the end of the web crawler. Now, Spider-Man's moveset is mostly about diversion and trickery, often using his webs to distract opponents while he either knocks them unconscious or subdues them. And the difference between Cole and Spider-Man is 8 years of experience. This version of Cole is still fairly new to having his powers, and while he has precision, he's still very new, and his main strategy is blast everything. While Spider-Man consistently fights people stronger than him using his wits and abilities and tools to overcome any situation, Cole relies on his pure strength. The biggest threat to Spider-Man is Cole's precision bolts and Cole's ionic storm, or he calls down lightning from the sky. This same move was used to destroy the Ray Sphere, the same object that withstood the blowing up a good section of New York. Everything else in Cole's arsenal is simply a recreation of standard arms that Spider-Man has consistently gone up against. Spider-Man was able to temporarily bind Electro with webbing during their fight, and while Cole is a lot stronger than Electro, he will be able to be bound, if I will say for a shorter period of time. But during that time, while he is webbed up, Spider-Man will slowly be closing the distance. Cole should be able to block most of Spider-Man's direct webbing with his electric shield. Only problem is that the shield only covers a portion of Cole on the side, and Spider-Man can easily swing to the other side to land some hits in. But the big problem with Cole constantly shooting things at Spider-Man is that this is going to be taking energy that Cole needs to use his lightning powers. While he can restore his lightning, 1 second of not putting pressure on Spider-Man will lead to him getting in close and dealing serious damage to Cole. Spider-Man is very physically strong, whereas a lot of Cole's damage output comes from his electric powers. Spider-Man is a lot more physical, and while Cole isn't really a slouch when it comes to tanking things, Spider-Man is honestly just ridiculous. And while lifting strength and physical strength are two very different things, since Spider-Man is primarily a character that punches and kicks things, I'm going to take his immense strength into account. Spider-Man has shown impossible feats of strength, such as stopping trains and using his webs to catch debris weighing several tons with ease. Now that we are up close, Cole has a few options he can try. First is the ionic blades. which is where he coats his arms in lightning. Now, Cole has shown awesome feats with these blades, such as cutting David Warner's limbs off, but Cole only has one chance to kill Spider-Man with these, as after Spider-Man sees this attack coming, he won't get hit by it again. And I doubt that Cole will get a killing blow in with these blades due to Spider-Man's Spidey sense. The other strategy is for Cole to grab Spider-Man and try to drain him or blast him back. While Cole is a great range fighter, he's no match for Spider-Man up close. Now, one thing to consider is Cole's insane healing factor, which he can heal extremely fast and heals instantly when taking in electricity from his surroundings. But there is something that severely damages Cole, which is water. Now, normally, me saying that Spider-Man figuring out a way for him to knock Cole into the water around Manhattan would be headcanon. But it's very in character for him to figure out a way to use any water he has around him, such as water from fire hydrants. This is actually how he defeated Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, using water from a nearby fire truck. Not saying this is how it would go verbatim, but it's not outside the realm of possibility for Spider-Man to do this, and it is more likely to happen than less likely. Spider-Man's biggest advantage in this fight is his insane acrobatics and how easily he can traverse the environment. Cole has never fought anyone so experienced or so athletic, while Spider-Man consistently fights metahumans that are stronger than him. While it's not going to be an easy fight, I'm going to give this one to Spider-Man. So now let's talk about evil Cole versus Spider-Man. This version of Cole is about 2 to 3 times stronger than good Cole, and he also has a lot more energy. So Spider-Man's going to have a lot harder of a time when it comes to subduing him and getting him to run out of energy. Also, this version of Cole is going to be going for the ionic drain a lot more frequently, causing Spider-Man to either hit Cole with more objects from a mid-range, such as fire hydrants and sewer covers. But while it's still going to be more difficult for Spider-Man, I still think he'd be able to pull through it just because Cole's moveset hasn't changed. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Good Cole from Infamous 2 is very strong. He gets strong enough to be able to fight the Beast, who survived this. He has more powers than he's ever had before, and he's had a massive increase in his close quarters combat abilities. Before, every move Cole made against Spider-Man had to be perfect, or Cole would run out of energy and Spider-Man would be able to close the distance. But now, Cole has increased his power level and power set in practically every way, essentially becoming Spider-Man's worst nightmare. Every move Cole can make will be putting Spider-Man off balance and on the defensive. Every explosion is bigger and covers more area, meaning Spider-Man is the one who has to be precise. And while his Spidey sense helps, he's not invulnerable, and usually comes out of a combat encounter fairly injured. This being said, Cole's new moveset is his most varied one he's ever had. Being able to throw cars from a distance, to using ice abilities, to literally throwing lightning tornadoes. Cole is more versatile than he's ever been, and due to overwhelming strength, he's going to be able to completely overwhelm and incapacitate Spider-Man. Now, that being said, let's talk about the most powerful version of Cole, which is Evil Cole from Infamous 2, aka Beast Cole. He's the strongest conduit the Infamous series has ever seen. He absorbed the Beast's powers on top of his own, and he is the Beast. This version of Cole one-shots. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I was procrastinating on this one, but I'm glad I was able to finally put it out for you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you.